Okay, someone was asking about Hinduism. They know nothing about Hinduism. Well, that's more of a broad subject than you know. All over India, there are so many gods, goddesses. Now, the way I explain it, all the different gods, goddesses are different energies, okay? But in India, you have so many different types. I mean, it's hundreds. You've got tantric, you've got, more of where they are, what do I want to say, sannyasis that are wandering, traveling. I mean, then you have the ones that go to the temples, so many different types of temples, and they're doing pujas. Now, a lot of them are doing pujas, trying to placate some of the gods and goddesses. When a child is born, they'll put a big black mark on them and say they're ugly, so don't look at this child. I mean, but really, it's so varied. It's not a subject that you can cover lightly. It's like the Hare Krishnas are very different from those worshiping Vishnu versus those worshiping Shiva versus, those that are doing meditation. Some of them are not doing meditation. Some of them are just basically trying to learn to absorb books and it very how do I want to say it, more logic type based. I mean, there's everything you can think of there in India. Just like there are so many different factions of Christianity. Catholic is different from Amish. Okay, if you try to say, well, tell me about Christianity. Okay, Christianity is based on Christ. Okay, that you can say, but there it ends. I mean, the rest of it is, open for everything from the holy rollers to the Amish. Okay, so some are very demonstrative and some are very contemplative. You've got Quakers, you've got, you've got the Baptist, hardcore Baptist, you've got the, it's so again, to go into trying to explain Hinduism. Now, a lot of people in India say Hinduism is not a religion, it's a lifestyle. You have to be born in the Indus Valley to be a Hindu. Okay, they say that people cannot convert to Hinduism, you have to be born in India. So, and then you have a lot of, again, variations in the caste system. It's that the untouchables are not allowed to worship in certain areas, and then you have the Brahmins and the castes. I mean, really, to get into it, you really have to break it down to one specific, because, again, there are thousands. The way they worship in a Kali Mandir is totally different. Now, if you go down to South India, and you see them worshiping some of the Shiva things, and they're feeding alcohol, and I mean, it's I'd love to explain it to you, but again, there are thousands. Just like, again, if I tried to get into Christianity, you could say it's an overview, that they are believers of Christ, but again, the same thing, there it ends. So it's the same thing in India. Some are vegetarians, some are not. You have the Sikhs that are worshippers of Guru Nanak, and they have the book, and they don't believe there have been any gurus since then, since Guru Nanak. They believe in good deeds. So again, so many various factions that I wish I could do a real quick overview, but you really can't. especially not in India, because each one of them is different. There are those that worship Shakti. There are those that are in Advaita. Advaita is totally different than a path of duality. Okay. And then you have Kundalini, and then you have, which is again another different thing. Now I'm talking about genuine Kundalini awakening, not Kundalini yoga, which is a misnomer. What's being taught in the West under Kundalini yoga. Again, a whole different thing from Kundalini path. So I'm going to have to leave this here. I'm sorry, you're probably more confused than you were to begin with. But again, it's a very deep subject. It's the same as you go to like the Muslim faith. You have Sufis, then you have different factions of the Muslim faith as well. And each one of those factions is at war with the other one. And they think that Sufism is just way out there. Okay? So it doesn't matter. Even Buddhism, same thing. You have so many factions of Buddhism. You have those that in Buddhism that are the practicing Buddhists, the ones that are going out and living in the caves and they're doing the meditation, doing the practice. And then you have other ones that are more just, again, learning the texts and sitting there debating it all day. Okay? So far away from each other. And I think you find that across the spectrum. No matter which religious persuasion you go, you have the ones that are practicing, contemplative, meditative, introspective, and then you have some of those that are more just logic-based, okay, that are trying to learn something by rote and parrot it back, and thinking that that's the same as actually having the encounter. Okay, we'll put it that way. Yeah, and then you have everything in between. Same thing, even if you get into Catholicism, you have so many different factions even in Catholicism. You have contemplative nunneries, and then you have ones that are more geared towards social programs. So again, I don't think there's any way that you can just give one blanket statement to make it easy to understand. You have to take each one of them based on their own merits. So I'm going to leave this here. This is really a very deep subject. Okay. So thanks for your question. I think I probably wound up confusing you more than I was able to help on this one. I'm going to leave this here. Thanks for tuning in. Aho.